Blessings will come forward, yeah, to Reasonings at the Tree of Life, right here. Kingston, Jamaica, in the Manley College. Give thanks for liking and subscribing on Sela Media. I just want to give thanks for, you know, the good communication and how people have been responding and how we're being used in a good way to be able to, you know, communicate and do some connections in the human family, right? In the creative spirit, in the creative sense. So we're most thankful for that. In this moment, I was going to talk about life, how we are living in the present sense of life, right? I know a lot of people don't really, at the current moment, have a great sense of themselves or a great sense of what life is. In terms of most people are driven usually by visions and dreams, ideas they have of themselves, or idea they have of themselves in this thing we call life, right? Which I call, or others might term, the living cosmos. And I know sometimes when I mention terminology here, you have a lot of people who they seek out the ideologies which they assume these words are coming from. But in real and true essence, or real and true sense, I use these words genuinely because I've had an experience of them and I've used them and I've learned from them a certain level of qualitative understanding of information, and how information then translates back to literal events and experiences, right? So when I mention certain words, I want no one to then look and tell me or think to themselves that I'm specifically related to some kind of a pre-designed ideologies. I'll remind people I'm a part of no special interest organization, nor do I have any secret modular, you know, expectations, right? I also want to say that for one case, like case in point I should say, when we first started these videos, you know, we were very unsure as exactly the angle to take, because genuinely we were basically just expressing what was coming through our consciousness, and we weren't so structured in what we were presenting. And then as you can see, if you watched most of the videos, you can see an evolution, right? At the points when I was really angry, and then I made the concerted effort to say I would present the information with a certain palatability. Now I know some people might say that I'm of a certain level of intellect, and that might be reflected in the words, and then hence others might suggest I'm speaking of some other ideologies, right? But what I'm speaking about, I really tend to be very clear about it. So if I am not talking about no other ideologies, I would not make reference from them if I am not talking about them, right? Okay, so get that cleared up. In the living space, currently, ideologies are a dime a dozen. Everybody's got a viewpoint on their expectations or on their experiences, right? So we can say there's a high ebb of human expectations generally and a low ebb in human expectations, right? So in the current age, I think there is a low ebb in human expectation. There's a lot more of things, material things, and sometimes more aimless material pursuits, right? So there's stuff that's filling up the space. But in terms of genuine sense of presence, sense of clarity on the experience, sense of clairvoyance on the experience we're having, because there are people inside and outside of these organization groupings that sometimes are offering, you know, solutions and remedies to situations, but the individuals who are in these organizations are so bewildered, they're so confused that even the value of which their mission statement is said to offer, are said to be offering, they themselves cannot find the virtue of it. So how do we adjust the low ebbs in life to get to the high ebbs or the high flows in life, right? One of the things we've got to look at our world, because if we don't look at the environment we're living in as having a great effect upon the life we're having, then we're kind of out of sync. And then we have to look at our impact upon that environment. So first thing, if you really truly want to inherit or be a part of a world that is more good and is giving you greater sense of planning your family, your relationships, and looking forward to going all on this plane, right? It would serve you well, right? To be a part of organizations and groupings within your friendships, settings within your, if it's possible within your work groupings, if also possible within, you know, certain special interests. You know, I mean, dare I use a term, because not every special interest is a bad interest, right? So even some of these groupings really do help you to get some of your mental spaces together, right? And get you to understand that in adding through civic ventures, right, you really can create a society that reflects you more. Now I know some people say there's a risk in this also, because you have powerful people, yeah, i.e. again, members of those special interests, you know what I mean, that will try to influence more, far left, far right, left to center, right to center. They'll try to influence more based upon the amount of money power or genuine power they possess, power to influence, right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a part of groupings that have wholesome and humanitarian outlooks and views, right? And I know sometimes it's even more possible if you're in certain economic standings and certain economic conditions, right? So I'm not saying that every person, you know, will be able to be like a part of these organizations that really have a kind of a social re-engineering premise, that we really try to get to understand that these groups want to build a better society, a better world. So that's one way, right? Many people have a strong religious perception. If you can embody the best of your religious views into your spiritual life and way of life, then that's another way to influence the kind of environment you want, right? And then remember, you know, you are a part of somebody else's vision of what's good, then somebody else can be also a part of your vision of what is good. So you have to have space for the others. Because remember, in real life worldview, in my worldview, there are no strangers. Strangers is a construct of the mind. You know, the spirit knows, the heart tells you what's happening here. You know, we're familiars, right? And sometimes, you know, people might say we get lost in all these philosophizing, and because I know this channel has been mostly visited, I guess, by people who have the Christian persuasion, because I guess the Christ-like perception and a Christian-oriented viewpoint kind of makes sense more in our reality. But I was a little bit surprised also, because I was aiming for people who probably also were not really thinking along this mode, like really people who were just coming to this viewpoint. Be that as it may, I think we are speaking to a lot of people who are Christian-minded. However, I truly would want us to have a more broader conversations, right? And I think that's why probably some of the self-righteousness is slipping in the comments as well too, right? Because people are not really understanding and begin to know exactly why we're doing this, right? So to kind of bring the conversation to a broader sense, the people who are not getting a part of the rhetoric in terms of mass media or the major airtime to hear their viewpoints, right? I would like them to have more say in what's happening, because they have a lot of energy, and their energy is being used in manners and in a like manner to somewhat confuse things too, right? So it's better if we have dialogue with these people so we can understand how we, who are like myself, individuals with our spiritual friendship groups, how we can connect with other groups who have more organized viewpoints, or how we can connect to other individuals out there who might not view our perception but understand that there's a similitude in life that we really need to connect to harmonize. And harmonization isn't just based upon my philosophy, because guess what? We're in a heterogeneous reality, not this homogeneous view, right? And in this heterogeneous reality, in this heterogeneity, the truth is many viewpoints are what it's about. Blue isn't the only frequency on the visual spectrum. There's red, there's green, there's orange, there's olive. I mean, there's purple. So it's good when we can realize, for us to have harmony, the other viewpoints must have their place. And that is why I think the main reason I'm doing this particular one. Because I think, because the viewpoints have been seemingly so based in Christianity, or because I say I'm not a Christian, which is the truth, I'm a follower of Christ, right? And we'll speak about Christ a little bit more also, because we're going to expand, because I guess the last video we did on Christ, it was the first video we did actually. So we're still trying to find the rhythm and tempo of what we're doing, right? So it didn't come across as clearly as I guess maybe we wanted it to. And I guess it has attracted the spaced out, misaligned viewpoints of some individuals. But now, back on track. That was months ago. Here we are presently talking about our place in life, what's happening with our sense of well-being, our sense of hopefulness, right? Now, in most religious language, and I do say most because it's most, and I want to address the people who are analyzing me psychologically. You must understand something about Jamaicans. We tend to look off in space. It's not mean to deceive, you understand me? I notice you people. Watch yourselves. It's how we are. We look down, we look up, we look across. It's a stilling. It's to tell to you, It's not outside that matters, it's really what's inside, right? Okay, so these many viewpoints in life, we're coming to a particular state of how we're living currently in life now, right? We are separating more, so the sense of disharmony is more within us. People are finding it very hard to have these great visions of their future, and it's contained a lot in the religious viewpoints, apocalyptic viewpoints held by religious people, and it goes right across all the different religions, all of the religious spectrum. So lots of people are living very unsure. The microchip is a threatening psychology that's heavy in Christendom. It's heavy within Rastafari. We speak about it, we know about it. Yeah, I'm trying to recenter this vibration because I see it's getting off, and I want to center back where we're going, where Jerome Sage Butler is going with what I've been offering, because I see it's been tilting. So I recognize, right, that our religiosity, our religious ego and religious nuances outpictured as lifestyles of so off-balance life, perceptions of it, actuality of it. The reality of life is these apocalyptic mindsets have got us thinking without a great view of our future. A particular set of individual races or individuals of certain races are more held under these psychological depressings than others. The most disenfranchised are affected by these apocalyptic mindsets. Their views on life are not vast because a lot of us are expecting tsunamis, disasters, rumors of wars, destruction. The environment is rife with it. Therefore, we kind of put ourselves in a state of mind of almost creating it. I hope you're feeling me, because I'm feeling you. Put ourselves in that state of mind. We're almost putting ourselves in that state of mind of creating that reality, that debauchery called reality, right? Where reality TV is what people are trying to fulfill versus looking outside, looking inside, looking beside you and see another real human being in the real conditions we are, and trying to really understand how it is that I feel you, how it is that I can connect with you, how it is that your pain and your struggles is also going to affect me and become my pain and my struggles. Because Christ said we are our brother's keeper, our brother, sister's keeper. We cannot malign others for the sake of self-promotion. We have to understand, heterogeneity, the differences between this homogeneous way of thinking, wanting everyone to think like you, to act like you. Then you say, oh, she's moral, he's moral, he's a just Christian man. Look at his eyes. What of my eyes? Look at the way he speaks so cordially and organized. So what? Do you know me? Do you really know me? Get to know me. Get to know the persons beside you, the people around you. Then you'll understand of what I'm offering. Don't go back to ideologies. I'm not offering ideologies. I'm actually offering actual factuality, things you can actually apply to your life. And it's not some kind of spin doctrine, motivational religious speech. It's things people need to hear, because when I heard them, they motivated me. So in our living cosmos, in your societies you are, if you can genuinely do more, and I don't mean just people say, why do people always say we need to help? Listen, people, remove the word help from your vocabulary. Be a human being that cares. Then the word help won't be a word that seems so denigrating to others and self-puffing up to others, right? Just say it is our duty to care. To care one mite, one iota of what happens to someone else. Just like you care about what happened to you. And you don't have to denote it, demark it as ideology. We are messed up when we think because we're in these ivory tower apartments, we drive these really fancy cars, that we are okay. And deep within our psyche, we have all these emotional things that we can not understand what they are, nor whence they come it. They are the feelings, the stirrings of others in the cosmos that you are ignoring. That your religious viewpoint, your spiritual, your elucidated viewpoint don't allow you to see. And that's a fact. So these divisions, right? These subdivisions, these glorious self-praising states cause us to kind of put ourselves into more boxes, more boxes, more boxes. We build on these boxes, we make these grid boxes, we call it suburbia, we call it whatever we call it, right? But the fact is, we are putting ourselves more and more into traps and less understanding the person next door to us, because they've got their grill, they've got their security code, and they've got their codes that's locking them out, locking us out, locking themselves in, right, into their own stupidity, their own stupefying states. But hey, they are said to be successful. It's said to be a good way to live behind gated communities, and you put along your racial lines, and you don't seem to see what's happening to the black man is happening to you, because guess what? You have this insular protection around your own race, your own class, yeah, and then sometimes we don't want to look at it because it's comfortable, right? And then we don't want to acknowledge that we do feel the hurt of others. How many of you want to be in the shoes of another? Especially when it's across racial lines in this life. You don't want to do it, right? So if you're making a messed up world and you're inheriting a messed up world, can't you see you're doing it? So it must be clear that to change that, use your religion in the intent it was made for, to make you more spiritual, to harmonize more, and to know why it is that the trees have something to do with you, your health, your well-being, and why it is that you have something to do with the well-being and the health of the trees and the animals, right? And the oceans and the air we breathe, right? Because I don't like to jump into these philosophies of global warming or whatever, right? Because I know these things go. I know there's these far left, far right. So that's not my kettle of fish or cup of tea, so I'm staying away from that. But what I would say is this: you cannot live in an environment and then you're doing all these things which are aberrant and aberrated from natural law, and then assume you have no effect upon the environment, right? So I'm not saying this to add to some people's ideology of what is climate change. I'm saying we're affecting our environment. And the climate is one way we are affecting the environment, but we are affecting the psyche, the behavior of all the peoples on the plane. And again, based upon where we are socially, economically, it affects you adversely, it affects you differently, right? So for the most poor and disenfranchised, these things hurt us very much. There's masses of young, so-called poor and disenfranchised Black, Indian and Latino youths across all of these first world countries that do not have a positive vision or outlook of our experience, of our lives. Our religion is only furnishing an apocalypto, an age controlled by the elites, microchipped, you know, docile, you know, encamped, you know, imprisoned, disempowered. We don't have great visions, wars, rumors of wars. So how do we foster a greater vision? Is there a greater vision? These are questions we should be asking ourselves. The conversation will continue, the reason will continue in your mind, in your behaviors, in your attitudes, right? Thankfully, there are some of us, right, in our many persuasions and viewpoints who do understand the centralized viewpoint, which is beyond the experiential, based upon culture, to the experience of the soul, which is the essence of what we are. We all are, the language of heart to heart. What we call here in Tree of Life heartbeat telegraphics, you know, the telegraphic text from heart to heart, the language of the vibrational sphere. My prayer is for us to really find a true rhythm and tempo in our spiritualities, in our Christ-based consciousness and religious belief systems and viewpoints, and, you know, our material outlooks as well too, right? And our sense of well-being and our sense of connection with our societies and our environment.
Continue.
By the grace of God, we will find harmony.
Hallelujah.
We will find the work and we'll find the way, right? To go past all the confusion, right? As we're talking, it's just an accident that's happened, right? So Peace be unto your souls, joy and blessing, love and honor. So as I was saying, that was just an accident that happened at the intersection, you know. It goes to show of the temperament of which we're talking about, right? It's a constantly flowing amalgamation of our most confusing or most egocentric driven experiences. It's a Friday afternoon, people trying to rush for, you know, all sorts of monetary balances to imbalances to off balances to get things forward, unbalance again. We need to rebalance ourselves, reposition our thinking for a more wholesome result. And it's possible, because it's not you changing 10,000 people by a contrivance or a design or a desire. It's you changing yourself, adjusting your behaviors, grooming your behaviors, training your behaviors, instructing yourself to the most awesome possibility. Manifesting that, being that example, each one teach one. People will see your light within this world, within this environment, within this experience, and will be inspired. Inspired to likewise be harmonious, be caring, and be kind. They would want to know how it is that they can truly offer more of themselves to those around them, and that becomes their life. And this is a life of fulfillment, not a life of satisfaction, of self-satisfaction, but actual true spiritual fulfillment, true godly fulfillment, true divine fulfillment. It's just the way it is. So my desire for us, my wish for us, my prayer for us is that as an individual, in our societies, in our cultures, both those of us who agree with the ways our cultures are, for those who disagree, both on the homogeneous viewpoint and the heterogeneous viewpoint, put them together as two halves to make one whole. This is our lives. Let us take care of each other, take care of the environment, to have the experience of which our Creator created us to have. Blessings, love, honor, joy, and prosperity in your pursuit. Pursuant to your natures, may you unfold your true natures in a godly way. In this life, oh, love your nature, love your true nature, love yourself, love Creator. Blessings and honor you are, true gifts to yourselves, to us, to the environment. Continue your gift-giving nature.